In the previous video, we have seen the non-access modifier final, and we have also seen what is a final variable, final method, and a final class. So this is completed now. In this video, we will see some interview questions on the final keyword. The first question is, can a main method be declared as final? The answer is yes, you can declare a main method as final, but when you are inheriting that class, the child class cannot have its own main method because final methods cannot be overridden. Let's see the example for this one. I am taking the same examples that we have discussed in the previous video, which is final keyword method.java. This is the parent class, and final keyword method child.java. This is the child class. So let's declare the main method in this one. Public static void main string args, and I am making this main method as final. Okay, so now I have declared this main method as final and it is accepting this one. But now if you come to the child class, which is extending this final keyword method.java, it throws an error here. Public static void main, it is throwing an error which says cannot override the final method from final keyword method, because this main method we have declared it as final in the parent class. So you cannot have this main method in the child class. So the answer is yes, we can declare the main method as final in any class, but when you are inheriting that class, the child class can't have its own main method because final methods cannot be overridden. The next question is, what is the purpose of declaring a variable as final? In your program, if you want to have a variable that cannot be changed, then you can declare that variable as final variable. I'll give you a general example here. Let's say you are constructing a house and you will have some number of square foot available to construct your house, and this total number of square foot available for you won't be changed because you cannot occupy others' land beside you, so it is constant for you. The total number of square foot that you have is constant, you cannot change that one. So you can declare this total number of square foot available for you as final because this cannot be changed. That's a general example. And the next question is, what is the impact of declaring a method as final? We have seen it in the previous video. When we declare a method as final, we cannot override that method in the child class. We have also seen it in the previous slide. When we declare the main method as final, even we cannot override that main method also in the child class. So when we declare a method as final, we cannot override it in the child class. Next one is, I don't want my class to be inherited by other class. What should I do? So the answer is simple. You should declare your class as final. We have seen it in the previous video. When we declare a class as final, we cannot create a child class for that class. You should declare your class as final, but you cannot define your class as final if it is an abstract class. So this is another thing. If it is an abstract class, you cannot declare it as final class. A class declared as final can't be extended by any other class. How is final different from finally and finalize? Okay, so finally and finalize, we'll get them. Finally, we'll get it in exception handling. We'll see it in future videos. Finalize, we'll get it in garbage collection. So finally is an exception handling code section which gets executed whether an exception is raised or not by the try block code segment. We'll see it in the exception handling videos, but for now just remember that this finally is an exception handling code which gets executed whether an exception is raised or not. Finalize. Finalize is a method of object class. So this is the top class we have in Java. So finalize is the method of object class which will be executed by JVM just before garbage collecting an object. We have already seen it like in the first video that garbage collection is a process which runs as a separate thread in the background which checks the memory to see if there are any objects that are not useful anymore. When it finds any of those objects, it will delete them from the memory and it frees the memory so that the memory can be used for other purposes. And finalize is a method which will be executed by the JVM just before this garbage collection. But final is a modifier which is a non-access modifier which can be applied for a class or method or a variable. So that is the difference between final, finally and finalize. What does it mean by a class or member is final? So we have already seen this one. A class that is final cannot be inherited and a member or variable that is final cannot be changed and a method which is final cannot be overridden. What are constants and how to create constants in Java? Just use final keyword. If we use final keyword, then that becomes a constant and you cannot change it. Can you give some examples of final classes declared in Java API? So the examples are java.lang.string and java.lang.math. These are final classes. In this video, we have seen some interview questions on the non-access modifier, which is final keyword. If you want to download the documentation for this one, you can go to my GitHub repository at Subbu's Tech and go to Selenium-Java-tutorials. This particular topic starts with numbering 13a, and you can find this document here and you can download it here. In the next video, we will see what are Java interfaces.